What's up guys, my name is Ace, and with the Season 5 updates, there were a lot of changes to the game, and this time, most of them were stated in the patch notes. However, there were a few things that slipped by that weren't mentioned in the patch notes at all, that I wanted to mention in today's video. Keep in mind with this, these are just the things that I was able to find. There may even be some other things that were changed or added that I'm going to end up missing in this video, and that's the problem with not stating absolutely every change or addition in the patch notes. But I'm not going to be too hard on them this time because with the last update with Season 4, they got pretty much everything in the patch notes right. And like I said, with this update as well, they got pretty much all of the important stuff at least. Now, just a little warning for all you multiplayer players out there, there weren't a lot of stealth updates that affected multiplayer directly. Most of these are directly related to Warzone. But the one thing that isn't related to Warzone that I actually am really happy to see that I didn't see mentioned anywhere is in Gunfight as well as Spec Ops. We now have the ability to ping just like we can in Warzone. So we can ping a position that we want to move to, for instance, or we can ping an enemy player, and it behaves exactly like it does in Warzone. And this is such good news, especially for Gunfight. I really like this feature for Gunfight, because then even for the shy people out there that don't want to talk on a mic and everything, but they want to play Gunfight with randoms, they can at least be helpful to their teammates. They can point things out, they can mark enemy players. And I think that's great for a mode like Gunfight. Now, having said this, we still don't have the ping option in regular 6v6 or 10v10 multiplayer, and we don't have the option in Ground War, but I understand this as well because it could get really annoying playing with a bunch of random people that are just spamming that ping option consistently. So yeah, I think it's in a good place with it being in Gunfight, as well as co-op. I haven't touched co-op for a long time, so I don't even know if maybe they added this a while back in co-op, but I did hop in and check it with this update, and you can absolutely ping locations as well as enemies. As for the next thing that is Warzone related, this is something that I already covered in my big patch note video, but I did want to restate it here because it is something that wasn't specifically mentioned in the patch notes. This is the footstep audio overall in Warzone has been boosted pretty significantly. Now, in the patch notes, they did state that they added a decay, so if you go from sprinting to crouching, for instance, and then you crouch walk, you will still have those really loud footsteps for several steps while you're crouch walking, whereas pre-patch, you would immediately get the crouch walking footstep audio. However, the thing that wasn't stated is they just boosted the footstep audio across the board, so it is now louder in Season 5 than it was pre-patch. This also seems to apply to ladders. You can now hear enemies coming up ladders a lot more effectively. Before this patch, it was really hit or miss, I found, with ladders. There were many times where I could be right next to a ladder and an enemy would come up that ladder full speed and I wouldn't hear a single sound cue at all. Whereas other times you would hear a little bit of something. Now, it seems to be a lot louder, or at least a lot more consistent, which is good news, because it also doesn't seem to be way too loud by any means. It's just that the audio for that is finally there, and it seems to be there pretty consistently. As for the next thing with Warzone, it appears they've made it so everybody is guaranteed to drop an armor plate when you kill them. And this is something that they also made a change similar to this in Season 4, where it seemed like a lot of the time enemy players would drop an armor plate even if I knew they weren't carrying one. Like if I was doing testing, for instance, with two different consoles, a lot of the time the other player would end up dropping an armor plate even though I know they didn't have one in the inventory. But with Season 5, it seems like that's happening more and more consistently to the point where every kill that I've gotten so far, I have seen an armor plate drop. And that, I think, is great news as well. You get a little bit more of a guaranteed reward for getting a kill on an enemy player. Then after that, it looks like they somewhat fixed the way that armor works. Last season, I was noticing that even if one of your armor plates just had a sliver of damage taken from it, when you went to replenish that armor plate, instead of filling up the next available bar and still leaving you with that sliver, what it would do is it would just top up that sliver. So you'd only be getting a few points of armor out of that one armor plate. This season, it looks like they have adjusted this. This one I'm not 100% sure on, but I did do the testing post-patch at least here, and what I found is if the armor plate has taken less than 10 damage, then you will end up replenishing a full 50 armor. So it won't just top up that bar, it will give you the full armor plate out of that. Any more than 10 damage being dealt to that armor plate though, and it's still just going to be topping it up to the nearest bar, which I still think is backwards. I think if you have a plate and a half, for instance, and you want to put an armor plate in, it should fill up a full armor plate's worth. So now you have 2.5 armor plates rather than just 2. But that is just my opinion on that. Seems to make sense to me. That's not how it's working currently, but it does seem to be at least a little bit more forgiving than it was in Season 4. Next up in Warzone, they've actually adjusted the prices for both self-revive as well as the munitions box. Pre-patch, a self-revive would cost you $4,500, and post-patch, it's $4,000, so it's $500 off now. And we saw a similar trend with munitions box. Pre-patch, it was $5,000 cash, now it's $4,500. So these aren't massive changes by any means, but it'll make it a little bit easier at least to pick those up. And now for me at least, it's going to be a bit more difficult deciding between buying a UAV or buying a self-revive because they are the same value now. But finally, one last thing I want to mention in today's video that I didn't see mentioned anywhere in the patch notes that they added to Warzone. This is these gas cylinders. There's a red one that explodes when you shoot it and a green one that explodes with gas when you shoot it. And unfortunately, I've been combing through the map trying to find one of these myself so I could get footage. I couldn't find one, so they seem to be extremely rare. But I'm going to show you a clip here that was posted on Reddit, and I will leave a link to the original source down below. This is from Steve Harvey. And you can see he finds one of these red canisters, and what you can do with them is you can actually pick them up, but they're not like a regular piece of equipment. You have to actually put your gun away to carry these. And then it looks like you can start a fuse on them if you'd like and then throw it at your target, or you can just place them around the map and use them for ambushes. You can place it in an area where a vehicle maybe is going to come by and then just shoot it with your gun and it will explode. So that's the red one that you can see in that little video clip. Then on Reddit, I did find this image as well of one of the green canisters that can be placed, and this one explodes with gas rather than a proper explosion. Again, I will leave a link to that source down in the description below. But with that, that's pretty much everything that I've discovered so far when it comes to hidden updates that weren't mentioned in the patch notes when it comes to Season 5. Of course, there definitely could be more out there, but at least it seems like they didn't make any weapon changes behind the scenes as far as I can tell. I've done a little bit of testing on some of the obvious ones that we would expect to see some changes to, like the FAL, for instance. That was completely untouched with the Season 5 update, where most people were expecting it to get nerfed. So yeah, it looks like Infinity Ward has been improving quite a bit in this area where they're not keeping too many things hidden behind the scenes with the updates. And most of the things that I mentioned in today's video are relatively minor, and I can understand how they missed them. But with that, I'd like to know in the comments section below, what did you guys think about some of these changes that you saw in today's video? Are you happy with most of them? Not so happy about others? Just let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.